it is Chef Leslie with Harmons. Today we're going to learn a cooking technique called blanching. Blanching is bringing hot water to boil. Sometimes it's salted, sometimes it is not. And then you're going to cook it for a brief period of time and shock it in ice water. It tends to help digestion, and it also retains the flavor and the color really, really well. Oftentimes people who can will do that as well prior to, what's the word that I want to say, processing it in their big canning pot. So what I've got here is I've got a nice thing of boiling water. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to this because the vegetables that I'm going to use today can use a little bit of that. And I have some broccoli florets, I have some cauliflower florets, I have some green beans that I have just trimmed the tops, and then I've also got some snap peas, okay? So I've got some nice boiling water, rolling boil, kind of like-sized florets. So if you've ever heard of a crudité platter, that's basically a vegetable platter with a dip or a nut butter. You always want to blanch your vegetables prior to putting them out on the platter. It looks really beautiful. If I wanted radishes or if I wanted mushrooms, I wouldn't need to blanch those per se, but the cauliflower and the broccoli, I would definitely do that. So blanching, you want this to come up to a boil as fast as possible, and I do have my big ice bath at the ready. What that will do is it will stop the cooking process. It will retain the color and then also the flavor beautifully, all right? So one thing that a lot of people use blanching for is, for example, if you're going to can peaches or if you're going to can tomatoes, you can put a little X in the base of it, a very shallow X, and then you go ahead and blanch those in non-salted water, and then the skins can peel off really, really easily and quickly, okay? So this is gonna take just, it's almost, I'd say like a minute max. Make sure you have a spider at the ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and plunge these guys into my ice water bath. Now, you might say like, oh my gosh, putting these guys in so much water is going to dilute them or make them mushy. That's not the case at all. You basically want these vegetables to just be in this water for a very brief amount of time, okay? So I would say that's probably plenty of time for them. And I would you want to take the ice out, of course. That's going to kind of thwart me a little bit. But basically, I'm going to eat that guy. He's still a little crisp tender, but he's beautiful. And look how green they are. The vibrant green is so attractive and appealing, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put those guys back in there with the ice. That's not really going to work. Moving on to cauliflower, okay? So in goes my cauliflower. And I'd say a minute or two for those as well. And maybe I will toss that in a pot in the sink, have running water be over that so that my ice melts so that I'm ready to get my next vegetable going, because I don't want all of these ice cubes in there as well, because they will get a little bit on the soggy side. You can put a little bit of a paper towel in there if you want. Snap peas, of course you could eat those raw if you wanted to, but I kind of like them blanched a little bit. One thing that I will do when I make fondue is I will cook my potatoes all the way through. I will blanch my broccoli and my cauliflower. And that way it just looks really way more attractive. If you guys can see how green that was compared to how it was prior, it really brings out the vibrant greenness of it. All right, let's take a look at my cauliflower. There's just something about adding salt to the boiling water also that really makes it a nice snack. I don't think that I'm just going to do that for a second. How about that? That would make it really appealing for your guests. Okay, there's my cauliflower. Let's take the rest of that out. Now notice I'm kind of using the same water. It's not like the green from the previous vegetables are going to leach in and make this cauliflower any different color. But I just want to shock that. 30 seconds is ideal. If you were like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to be waterlogged at all, feel free to just put them out on a paper towel. You could do that. Okay, there's the last of my cauliflower. Beautiful. Now, you could roast these vegetables if you wanted to. Totally doable. That's going to caramelize them and bring out some different flavors in them. You could steam them. I actually have several bamboo steamers that I purchased at an Asian grocer, and I just kind of stack them on top of a pot of boiling water, and I'll do that method and then add a little bit of salt and a little bit of butter. I actually did that last night with broccoli, so that's really very nice. Traditionally, it's really funny, in cooking school, I had one French chef tell me, a green bean is not cooked until 9 minutes, and I thought, oh my gosh, 9 minutes, that thing's gonna be like this limp, nasty thing. So I would never cook a green bean 9 minutes. I tend to like them a little bit more al dente than I guess he did. But obviously it's to your preference. See all this ice? Shh. No ice should go in here, all right? Do as I say, not as I do. How about that? And then last but not least, these snap peas. These guys are gonna probably take like a minute max. Oh, I'm eating this. Sorry. They just look too darn good. So I'm going to take one of these beans out and just test it. It still snaps. I think those guys are done. I may go no more than 3 minutes on these. And I don't know, that's probably a couple minutes. The other thing that you could do is you can actually take fresh produce while it's in season, all right? So like right now, I wouldn't say tomatoes. What's coming in right now? I mean, I think like broccoli and cauliflower, those guys are kind of wintry type vegetables. Leafy things are coming in. So let's say I was gonna blanch some spinach, okay? Then I created a tangle and put it on a bed of paper towel. Then I could go ahead and freeze that. And that would be a beautiful way of taking some sort of produce that's in season, so it's at its highest nutritional value and flavor, and then you could go ahead and freeze it. That would be a great idea. There we go. Okay, I think my beans are done. And you could do, I would say carrots, you could easily blanch. Again, mushrooms, I probably would not blanch. Potatoes, I would cook all the way through. So little like baby red potatoes or baby Yukons, you probably want to blanch or cook those maybe, I'd say like 8 to 15 minutes. Again, tomatoes, if you're going to blanch those, that would be mainly for canning purposes. And peaches, I definitely know you can do that. I'm just gonna go a couple more minutes with those guys. But anyway, there you go. You've learned about blanching and you've learned about shocking. So thanks so much for joining me.